Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of May in my reading journal. I'm a little delayed in getting this video out to you, but I'm glad that I finally have it ready for you all to see. There are a couple of mistakes that I make when setting this up, and there'll be a couple of times where my head unfortunately gets just a little bit in the view. But other than that, it's a usual wrapping up video. We're starting with the stats page and doing all the boxes. The month of May was quite challenging for me to read. I found that I would have pockets of time where I could sit and read, and then not a lot for days thereafter. I did try to read almost every single day, but there were quite a few days where I didn't read at all. I think this is the highest month of not reading, and subsequently I only read 11 books in total. The other thing that was really interesting about this month, and I can't decide if it's 100% the books or my mood, I think it's a little bit of both, but I had a total of 4 DNFs, and that's not like me at all, and I just thought I'd point that out. It was just a little bit interesting to see when you're having a bit of a hard month how that plays out into your hobbies and your other interests. I will admit that I have been more interested in doing other things over the month of May than reading, which is a great thing for me because I do struggle with balance. I tend to put all my effort into 1 or 2 things and then sort of forget that I actually can do 6 or 7 different things. So I'm a little bit of a hyper fixator, and it's not a bad thing, but sometimes I would really like to have a bit more balance and variety in my schedule. So I definitely put a little bit more effort into things over the month of May that were outside of reading. Just think I needed a bit of a break from everything. But overall, there were some really great reads over the month of May, and then there were some just okay ones. It seemed like there was a little bit of a trend. One book would be really great, the next one not so great. But I did have a lot of fun with the books that I enjoyed, and there were a couple that surprised me. I really didn't expect to like Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood, and I wasn't hoping for much from a couple of other books as well. The True Love Experiment and Queen Bee, I didn't have huge hopes going into them, but I really liked them. I gave both of them 5 stars. And the book of the month that I thought would be the top is not. So Happy Place was my most anticipated romance of 2023, and it didn't hit 5 stars. I ended up loving Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison a bit more. I do already have a video up on the channel. I'll link it in the description of my end of May reading update, so you can hear all about what books I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and the books that I DNF'd as well. But we are still on the stats page, so let's start talking about those stats since I finished filling them all in. I read a total of 11 books, and that equated to 4,192 pages. The average stayed the same as last month, which was 3.9. I read 5 arcs. I brought or was gifted 6 books over May. I hired 3 from the library. There were 6 series that I read, 5 standalones, 4 books I DNF'd. The physical books that I read were 2, but I actually made a mistake on the format here. So I put 6 in the video, but it's actually 5 ebooks that I read, 2 audiobooks, and there's actually 2 mixed reads in this list. So that is a little bit of an error that I made for the formatting. For type, all of them were novels, and the audience were 7 adult and 4 YA books that I read over May. You can see that this page is now complete. We are now ready to move on to the front of the journal. I had actually kept up with the Goodreads challenge, and we're just flipping straight to the bookshelf, which I had not kept up with, and it's very rare that you get to see me fill this in, and so I kept a little bit of the footage in. I like colouring in all the boxes and then seeing it afterwards with the titles on them, but I did make a little bit of a mistake writing in the final title. For a minute there I couldn't remember how to spell a word and had to look into the back of the book. isn't it funny when we look at something and we go, right, we know exactly what color order we need to do, and then we do one, and then we have to look again and flip back to that page to make sure that we have the right order. I do that a lot. I second guess myself so often. Here we are on the day's red pixel, and I'm sorry that the video is not showing the full page. I must have pulled it towards myself without realizing it at some point, and you can't see the 31 days in total. You can see just a little bit of 31, but it was a day that I actually didn't read. And I do find that the end of the month, I'm trying so hard to keep up with everything that I need to get ready for the next month that I don't end up reading on that final day. It seems to have been a trend almost every single month this year, and it's definitely something that I want to try and improve on. It's not bad that I don't read on that day. I do have a lot to do to wrap up, and I am someone who has all the great intentions of having things ready to go into the new month like a week beforehand, but life is life, and I end up lately just doing it all on the final day of the month. I actually didn't set up my everyday journal for the month of June until I think the 6th of June. That's how far behind I have been in things. But I really did enjoy just bullet journaling away from the reading journal recently, so I'm going to make sure that I do that a bit more often, just have some fun being creative without having to think within the bounds of a book and its theme. So I'm wondering if in 2024 if I will continue using books for the theme for each month, or if I will be a little bit more scrapbooky and creative as I am with my everyday journal. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We're only halfway through 2023 after all, and I cringe at saying that. It's just so weird to be already in June. June is my birthday month, and so I was hoping to have a very quiet month. It doesn't feel like it's going to be, so hopefully July will be that month for me. All the same, I'm hopeful for the reads this month. We've got some really good ones coming up, and I do think that we will have some really fun fantasy and romance themes to share in the future. We're now moving on to the reading data book log, and again I need to go back and fix the ebook, and here I've put down 6 when it's actually 5. I have a few more things to fill in this month, so there were the 4 books that I DNF'd that I had to add here. I also move on to the next page, and it is all about the arcs that I'm reading. I actually think I need to go through and add a couple that weren't on this list, but I was aware of the camera time and how long it was taking me to do this already. I also didn't really keep down the exact pages or percentages that I DNF'd some of these books, so I kind of just guessed where it was roughly in the book, because I don't tend to go by page number. I use percentages, except for the first 2. I kind of messed that list up, but never mind, that is what I do now. And don't you hate it when you erase something and it ruins the page? I'm so annoyed that that page is now ruined. We're now looking at the series tracker, and this is where I got stumped a lot. You'll see me flipping back and forth, trying to find the series. And I was actually looking for the series called The Siren's Call by Nicole Bailey. You can see it on that left side. It's just like 3 books below, right there where my finger was, and I cannot find it for the life of me, because I'm actually looking for Songs of Vice, which is the first book's name. I have no idea why I couldn't find it until that point, and it was very annoying. It's hard when you've got so many books and series on the go to try and keep up with them all, but I really do think the system works a great deal, and I'm so glad that I decided to give it a go in this journal. I really like tracking it, and I cannot wait to see more series complete with the little pink bar running across the little side. It'll be so much fun. Finally, onto the owned TBR. Again, this page needed a little bit more updating. I've unhauled a few books, or actually I've just pulled them off my shelves and put them into a pile to unhaul. A couple of them have already gone, but I definitely need to get onto that. So I've simply marked them off on this page with a U to show that I have unhauled them, and I either chose a grey, which meant I didn't read it, or I DNF'd it, and I just put a U over the top of the ones that I'm unhauling that I've already read. So aside from that, I had to add on a few more books. I think it was only like the 5 or so that I got this month actually to the list. I have been doing pretty okay with keeping up with all the books that I've been getting in this year and adding them to the list each month. I am making sure I keep on top of that because I'm so worried that I'm going to forget, and that's not going to be great when I go through my shelves at like September and see, you know, I have way more books on the shelf and not enough on this page. It's something that I really want to keep on top of because it's very easy to let it get out of control. Flipping on to the author pages, now I have been seriously thinking about this and I've decided that I'm not going to continue on with adding any new authors. I will continue to finish these pages off for the authors that I've written down, but from here out I've decided I'm not going to add them. I just don't see very much point to it. We're now at the final flip through. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you're all well. I've had a very busy week with being at hospital and stuff with my family, so again I do apologize for this video being a little late going up, but I will see you all in a new video sometime soon, and hopefully it won't be just another setup video. I feel like I want to be a bit more creative this month. I will hopefully be back into a routine soon. Bye everyone!